Hi everyone, welcome to today's Socratic dialogue. The topic for discussion today is the philosophy of mathematics and science. So I'll be your moderator for today. My name is Aditya Srivastav. Over to you, Yukta.
Hi, I'm Yukta and I'll be the co-moderator for this session.
Both the teams can start introducing themselves.
Hi, I'm Yashita and I am coach of team Unbound Hypothesis and I work in CRM lab as a data champion.
Hi, I'm Anushri. I work as a data analyst in Deep Thought, and today I'm a part of Team Unbound Hypothesis.
Good evening, everybody. This is Ananya, part of Team Unbound Hypothesis.
Yeah,
Good
very
evening,
good.
everyone.
Yeah, Aditya, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aditya Sharma, and I am a data champion in Deep Thought.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Afreen, and today I'll be the coach of Team MetaMinds.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nandini, and I am representing Team MetaMinds.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kartikeya. I am representing Team MetaMinds.
Good evening, everyone. This is Ananya and I'm from Team MetaMinds.
Thank you everyone for your introductions. Over to Yukta for the continuation.
Which team like to go first?
Like to go first.
Okay, Team Unbound Hypothesis. Give a short summary about your pitch and why do you keep the name of your team Unbound Hypothesis?
I would like to go first. So, our pitch explores how science and mathematics aren't just about formulas or facts, they are guided by deeper philosophical questions. We show how thinkers like Newton, Aristotle, Einstein, and Ramanujan viewed truth differently, and how those perspectives turn science into search for meaning and not just answers. Yeah, so we chose our team name as Unbound Hypothesis because it captures the spirit of continuous questioning that drives science and philosophy. A hypothesis is never final, it evolves as new evidence and perspective emerges. So, foundation shapes how we define truth in science, whether it's Newton's law, Aristotle's causes, or Mr. Ramanujan's intuition. The starting points guide the questions we ask and the tools we trust. In education, this becomes, are we training solvers who follow the rules or seeks who challenges them? For example, Euclid's geometry dominated classrooms for centuries until non-Euclidean thought reframed space itself and opened the path to modern physics. Over to Aditya.
The way we teach depends on what we believe. Some people focus on clear proofs and logics. Others believe in it's more important to explore idea and ask new questions. Both way matter. Srinivas Ramanujan sir, for example, had no formal training, but his creative thinking changed mathematics forever. Next slide. Yeah. So science doesn't start with steps or formulas. It starts with how we think. Some discoveries begin with curiosity, other with logic or a gut feeling. All of them work together. Sir Albert Einstein didn't run his experiment first. He just imaging and chasing lights and then led a new theory. Next slide. Science has changed a lot over time, and that because people believe change. What we see as truth depend on how we think. When old ideas no longer work, new ones take their places. Like when people once believed Earth was the center of everything until new thinking proved otherwise. Over to Anushri.
So we all are aware of that science is not just about facts, it's about how we think. If a scientist is never questioning his own ideas, that just means that he is repeating his pattern and following the paths that has already been followed. Philosophy is the thing that helps us to reflect, to challenge our assumptions, and to stay open. Like, for example, Einstein was not just memorizing equations, he actually questioned that what time and space really means. Moving forward to how philosophy drives progress. So, we have seen that when models change, the world changes with them. And progress just doesn't come from new idea. It comes from the new ideas that comes in the scientist's mind or people's mind. And the one thing that pushes us to ask different questions is the philosophy. Like Darwin just didn't collect the facts about animals. He just introduced a whole new way of seeing life itself. Concluding this, so the main question is, why does philosophy matter in science today? Because it defines what we call truth and it shapes how we teach it. It allows us to stay unbound and not care about the boundaries that were created a day and think beyond those boundaries and explore anything that has never been explored. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Unbound Hypothesis. Now, Team Metamites can ask your questions.
Well, I have a question.
Yes, Nandini,
Go
please
ahead.
go ahead.
Well, you mentioned that how the perspective of science changed over the years, right? Like previously, we used to believe certain thing. Over the years, it got disproved. So, if people's beliefs keep changing over time, how do we know the truth we believe today is really true? So, isn't what we are following is science today? Can we say we are living in the absolute truth?
Team Unbound Hypothesis. Would you like?
Uh, I from all the examples that we have seen, I believe that science is never an absolute truth, but more of a relative truth. Like even a basic example like of motion. If you're sitting in a train, you feel like that, I'm just sitting, but actually you are moving. So that is science. It's just relative. You will believe something and actually something else is happening or occurring in real life. And even that might not be true. In some, like, after some years, we will get some another theory about moving or motion or anything. So we cannot really say it, but it's just relative. And that's how that's why we include philosophy in it, so that we can always question it and explore the new truths of science.
Well, as a follow-up question, you said that in the train, how we are not moving and like we are in sitting, but the train is moving, so somehow we are moving. It's kind of like, pardon if I'm spelling it wrong, but Schrodinger's cat, that we don't know if the cat is dead inside the box or alive. There's a possibility. So, can we say that both are truth because we are technically not moving our limbs, but the motion is going on? So, can you say there are different perspectives involved here?
I guess we can say that, but not really, because see, even if a person is realizes that he is not moving, but there are some people who faces, motion sickness. Their body knows that they're moving, even though our mind is not able to catch that. Even if we are still thinking that okay, we are not moving, but we are actually moving.
You said relative truth. How can you define it, please? Like how it's different from absolute truth?
Relative truth is basically the same thing that you just mentioned, that there can be two perspectives, that I'm sitting still and someone thinks that I'm moving. So that is what relative truth is. It just belongs according to the perspective of the person observing us. If the person sitting next to me in the train is observing me, he'll say that I'm sitting still. But if a person, outside the train, if he is observing me, he'll say that no, that person is moving. So that is the relative truth.
Got it.
Does that answer your question, Team?
Yeah, that answers my question.
Any more questions?
So don't you think asking questions always can have a negative impact?
I'm sorry, Karthik, could you bring a ground to your question?
Yeah. Now sometimes maybe we are on a positive side, like we are having a good result. Maybe questioning it again can make it negative, like it can have a negative impact on it. So is it feasible to always ask questions?
Can you like propose a example for that?
I can't think of example right now, but I we can say like now example like you have completed a project and it's impressive. Maybe questioning it again might bring some qualities which need which can bring some negative impact on the project, right? So is questioning always good? What do you think?
Questioning is good because it helps in the refinement. What is important is to know what to change and what not to change. If after questioning you believe that the information is relevant to what you are seeking, so you can change the information. If not, then you don't change the information. But questioning is always good because it can lead to refinement as
Adding
And
on to that,
even
yeah.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so adding on to it, that questioning isn't about disrespect or negativity. It's just about curiosity with responsibility. And philosophy teaches us how to ask better questions, deeper questions, and not to reject the truth, but to understand it more fully. And if we stop questioning or stop asking, we stop evolving.
Does that answer your question, Karthik?
Yes, you.
Any further questions? Team members.
Yeah, I have a question. That the pitch was, revolving
I would
around the
like to ask that
yeah, was someone
Afrin, you
speak?
can go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying that the pitch was revolving around the hypothesis, the importance of hypothesis, right? And it involves a lot of risk because it's, a thing which we are predicting. So how we keep a balance that risk doesn't make a large negative impact on anything, because the risk have both the sides. It can actually win or lose. So how you keep a manage in that, the negative side is not much so that it is not causing loss.
So basically, it's about assumptions and facts. Experimenting is basically having some assumptions, but where the balance can be is backing the assumptions with facts. When there's factual clarity about the assumptions and you have facts to prove that the assumptions are right, then I think it can be balanced.
Okay, so basically it's not just a hypothesis, but it is, with facts, it has been stated. Okay.
I would like to ask that how can we develop this philosophical thinking, the questioning mindset?
To
I guess
develop
it
that, yeah, go ahead, Anushree.
I guess it basically starts when you start observing things. When you will start focusing on things or observing on things around you, like the basic things, you will get the questions in your mind. They will trigger the questions that why this is happening and what is happening, what is the actual reason behind it. So I think the main reason of getting curious is being observing.
Any more questions, team? Sorry, Madam.
Yes. Can I start our pitch?
Yeah, you can start with a short summary of your pitch and also tell us why you named your team Metaminds.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. We are MetaMinds because we don't just think, we think about thinking, exploring how knowledge itself is built. So, moving forward, starting from the very first slide, science isn't just a set of formulas to memorize, it's a living journey powered by one curiosity, second critical thinking, third experimentation, and lastly reflection. And philosophy keeps this journey alive, ensuring science is ethical, adaptable, and deeply connected to society's needs. Next slide, please. Well, science starts with curiosity, the urge to ask why before how. Philosophy keeps this spark alive, helping us question what we are told and see science is an exciting journey of discovery and exploration, not just a mechanical set of formulas. Moving over to Kartikya.
Yeah. We don't grow by repeating smartest steps. We grow by questioning the path entirely. Imagination isn't the opposite of logic, it's the upgrade. Moving forward. Lobachevsky asked, what if space doesn't obey our lines? Einstein followed, turning thought experiments into physics. Philosophy isn't abstract, it's what makes new math possible. You don't get breakthroughs by solving faster, you get them by thinking deeper. Moving forward. A tool is only as sharp as the mind using it. Without reflection, we automate the wrong answers. Curiosity isn't more data, it's deeper questions. Don't upgrade your tools, upgrade your lens. Over to you, Hani.
Okay, so curiosity and experimentation, it actually requires reflection and a scientific temperament. The temperament to ask the why and the purpose of doing something before the what and the how. And philosophy ensures that this science remains ethical and purposeful. For example, clinical trials for vaccines, they balance rigor and responsibility. Moving forward, to conclude, I would like to say that philosophy transforms science into a living practice, which is rooted in curiosity, critical thinking, experimentation, reflection, and the entire rewiring of the brain where we can learn, unlearn, and relearn. It keeps science adaptable and socially connected. So, thank you.
Thank you, Team MetaMinds. Now over to Team Unbound Hypothesis for their questions.
Yeah, I have one question. Can you give one example that how philosophy changed science into living thing? You mentioned in that slide.
I mean, you meant living practice, not living thing.
Yeah, that,
Well, we are doing science because the first goal as human is for the betterment of life, right? So we should ensure that whatever, if we take the values of philosophy, then we will actually come up with scientific practices or experimentation with a goal which makes living worthwhile. We evolve over time and everything comes with experimentation. So, yeah, philosophy makes science into a living practice. We shouldn't come up with any other experimentation which degrade the life, which actually happened. But now we are working actively on it to make our lives better, to stop scientific practices like, all this degradation of environment and all the use of plastics or factory and make living in this earth more valuable, giving back to and living as a coevic society. So values and philosophy are important. So it transforms science into a living practice.
yeah, but before experimentation, how could we know that this will be degrade the environment or it will be help us? For example, nuclear power plants, they are, very helpful for us, for generating electricity and many resources, but they are also very harmful. So they are also very harmful for, our environment. But still we have many nuclear power plants, you know. So
Understand, yeah. Answering to that, I think before every experimentation, we have a hypothesis, which gives us an idea about what can be the more pros and more cons, and if we should make this decision accordingly. You will know that after the nuclear example, even the nuclear bomb example, if we go back to history, we will see how vast damages it caused. So the nuclear weaponry is discouraged. But still, people went ahead, like countries went ahead and went up with having a nuclear arsenal. So this house, even if it's becomes problematic, because if somehow the case like I'm forgetting the place in Chernobyl. The if some kind of gas leak happens, people might be damaged, but it still makes ensures the world peace remains, because every country will hesitate to attack another country because of the fear of mass destruction. So it all depends on a very twisted sense of philosophy here as well. So being armed to the teeth so much that they won't hesitate to attack, because if something happens, there will be no winners.
Got it.
Any follow-up questions?
Um, I have a question. Nandini, since you mentioned Chernobyl, like there was a, gas, not gas leak,
Yeah,
basically a
nuclear
fault in
testing.
the plant. No, no, it's okay. Fault in the plant, but you know that the nuclear power plants are still operating, and even though we know that how much waste they cause and what are we actually doing to our planet, so how is it still ethical? Like there was a mentioning of in your presentation that we basically influence the science to be ethical, so how will we justify the use of nuclear plants to be ethical?
Well, here's a twisted sense of philosophy here as well, because when the two after the World War ended, two superpowers rose, that being USA and USSR, and they come up with their nuclear arsenals, and the Cold War is happening, and at one point of time, it was in a very high point risk where a very high damage could have been done, which could affect other countries as well. Even in India and Pakistan, even small skirmishes are happening. But ensuring having nuclear power plants makes each country take a back step and not do something full fledged, right? Unlike before, because there is a fear and there's a chance of losing, they will think to make a rash decision before, because if anything happens, there will be huge damage. Coming to ethical part, since the power plants already started existing, and it wouldn't be fair if only some countries have this, so other countries are encouraged to have a very protective base, so in a some way they will be protected. It's not used for attack, but you can say it's for defense.
Power plants are used to generate electricity, not for attack or defense.
I
Well,
would like
okay,
to
yeah, sure.
just
No, no.
add something that being ethical doesn't mean that you completely stop something. Being ethical and questioning about it means that you question the ways to reduce the unethical things that might happen. So, like, we cannot just stop the usage of power plants and all, because we are getting like electricity and all that you have just mentioned. So we critically question any science to reduce the side effects or reduce the negative effects that it might have. So so it just doesn't mean that we have to completely stop it. We just have to reduce the negative effects, and that is what we are doing by questioning.
So how are we reducing the effect?
Because nuclear power plants does generate clean energy, right? And also it's a reliable power source. So with all these pointers, I think the pros are outweighing the cons. And yes, a risk always exists in all kind of fact. Let it be any kind of power plants or factories or arsenals. Anything can be affected. But this the pro when the pros outweighs the cons, I think we should go with the pros.
But don't you think again that Chernobyl didn't fail because science failed? It failed because people stopped questioning whether what they were doing was right, or was it necessary or safe. Isn't that the gap philosophy is meant to fill there?
Can you elaborate? I couldn't understand the question.
So basically, if we talk about the ethics, it's doing what is right, not just legally but morally as well. So even when it's inconvenient, unpopular or risky, So in science, ethic means protecting life, truth, and long-term impact. I think this is very tangent, but again, if you like, you guys were talking about power plants, no? So a concern was there ki, in Chernobyl, I feel that science didn't fail because again, here people kept like failed because the people stopped questioning the ethnicity, right?
Yeah, what's the question? Like you
Ananya,
just
I
told
think
me.
we
It's
should
okay.
keep the question to the
Yeah,
topic.
this power plant topic was a bit tangent. It's okay if we skip this.
Okay, any other question from team Unbound Hypothesis?
Yeah,
Uh,
we have one question. Yeah, Anushri, go ahead.
as I was just asking, concluding like this topic, that so like, is it being considered ethical, ruining the generations with the basically the waste of power plants just to get the satisfaction of having electricity for the short term reach?
If I'm not wrong, nuclear wastage is low in comparison to other forms of. I might be wrong in terms of other forms of
It's
sources
like
for energy,
radioactive. Right?
but it's only radioactive if there is an accident or somehow it seeps. You can say we have to be very careful so no leaks or no damages happen. Other than that, I feel it's safe.
And we do have ways to contain the radioactivity and all.
No, it is risky, but I think it's only if some kind of it leaks or it's exposed to the environment. But if we ensure that there is no, like
I
if
think
we
team
make sure.
MetaMinds, we get the idea. Let's keep this discussion a rapid fire more of like less than an elaboration. Let's keep cross questioning together. So they basically mean is we have uh, ways to stop that radiation from spreading. So they say that this is not as bad as we assume.
Also, radiation is
Got
only a
it.
product of accidents, so it's not common occurrence. If we keep, much more careful, then this kind of accidents might not happen, and it's not perfect, but safe to proceed.
Any follow-up question? Any other questions? Team and all that? No? Okay, then let's conclude this session with three reflections. Who would like to go first?
I would like to go first.
No, I
Okay.
was waiting.
So, from the Socratic dialogue, as it was about science and philosophy, but I actually got to know about a different angle, I would say. That is how people basically relate those philosophies with the science, and what people are considering okay, and what people are considering that okay, this is not okay, this is not ethical, and how philosophy is affecting their thinking. Like the philosophies that has already been discovered, they are the ones that back those thinking, okay, this is okay to do because of this reason, but someone might think that this is not okay to still do because of some different philosophy. So that is what I gained from this session of ST.
Okay, thank you, Anushri, for your reflection. Now, who would like to go next? Come on, guys. Today's session was very interesting. We had a lot of talks about philosophy and science. Both of the people from different backgrounds can share their reflections.
Yeah, I would like to connect this discussion to what all we did in a day-to-day life while we are working. So every time while we are implementing something new, we must counter question or maybe discuss it with our teams while we are implementing something new, and just know the risk of it, how it will be affecting if we'll make that hypothesis into an actionable steps. So I guess yeah, that's where the integration of science and work comes when you implement these things, experimentation, hypothesis into day-to-day life of work. So yeah.
Thank you, Avteen. We have one more seat left.
Yeah, I would like to go next.
Sure, Emily.
Yeah, so this session helped me to look at science and mathematics through completely different lens. Now I realize that behind every formula or there's a deeper question waiting to be asked about the truth or the purpose and what is really means to understand something. So it's easy to focus on solving problems mechanically, but today I understood that real learning begins when we pause and reflect. So philosophy isn't something separate from science. It gives us the gives science the direction. So yeah, that is what I've learned today.
Okay. Thank you, Nanya. And thank you everyone for participating in